Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are excited to bring you our next installment of our virtual alumni engagement series and our alumni success stories. Today, we have a fantastic alumni we are talking to from the Vet Tech program at Manor College, and someone who has been in the field for a number of years, Alyssa Magis, and we're really excited to hear her story, hear what she's doing now, how Manor was really a foundational piece in her career. And Alyssa graduated from Manor in 2012. So not too long ago, but a good almost 10 years ago. So it's exciting to hear what's happened in those last 10 years. Hi, Alyssa. How are you today?
Hi, Kelly. I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me, and hope you're having a good day as well. I know hanging out's always a good time. So
yes, definitely. Thanks for joining us. And Alyssa, can you start us off by just telling us kind of what are you currently doing? What's your current role with what company you're with, and kind of share us kind of what you're up to now?
absolutely. So I've been for the past year running my own company, which is really exciting. So we did a soft launch in 2019. We are empowering veterinary teams, or EVT. So you may have seen us on social. What we are focused on is creating really robust and dynamic training programs for veterinary practices, as well as developing content and training materials throughout the veterinary industry. So it's been a heck of a ride. We started right in the middle of the pandemic. I left active practice in June of 2020.
Wow.
And it's just been kind of full steam ahead, which has been really exciting, working with some really stellar organizations like Black DVM Network. I'm wearing their shirt today. So huge supporter of the work they're doing, Pride VMC, as well as Possibilities. I'm on the board with them. Really looking to take the veterinary industry and just go whoop, flip it on its head a little bit and mix things up, and really give that positive impact for change, a good booster shot throughout the industry.
Wow, that is so cool. You hear that, vet techs, you can be an entrepreneur, and we have a great example here with Alyssa. So take us back about 10 years ago, and maybe even further, to the beginning of your Manor journey. How did you hear about Manor College? Why did you choose it? And kind of take us back to that time.
Absolutely. So 10 years ago, like you said, it's not that long, but a lot's happened. So we had actually just moved back from British Columbia. We were living in Canada for 5 years prior to that. So we moved right back in 2008 in that lovely recession that some of you are too young to remember. And that's okay. It wasn't the best of times. But I had been working as, what a lot of folks in my era called, street tech, working in the trenches, really getting that experience as an assistant. And we can work anywhere. So I was very fortunate that when we ended up moving back from the States and things had fallen through, we were originally going to Florida to live with my parents. So moved in with them for a little bit with a, 10-month-old baby. It was super fun, and trying to figure out where to go. So got back into emergency medicine and met a really awesome vet who became a good friend. And she said, I'm starting a practice in Philly. And I was like, I don't want to live in the suburbs, so let's go. So did that, and then was like, okay, there's something missing. I had my bachelor's in marine biology, so I knew the fundamentals of that type of background, but didn't have the whys. I was good at what I was doing, but didn't know why I was doing it. And to get better, I knew I had to do more. And so Manor came up in conversation with some of my teammates at the time. And the real appeal was, you can go part-time. You're going to accept the credits that I already took and, busted my butt to get, so I don't have to take all of them. And I can also, the other appeal for me was, when you get to your second year, you can choose your externship sites, based upon availability and getting accepted, of course, but it wasn't determined, this is where you have to go. Because I really wanted to experience all of it. I had some large animal. My father-in-law is a cattle rancher, and I've worked in marine bio and wildlife and small animal, but there was so much more else to do. So I was very fortunate that I got accepted, got in, was able to work at the practice I was helping manage and start, hang out with my, at the time, gosh, she was, 2, and go to school and get my degree. So it was all of those factors really came into play for it. I wanted to get the why, I needed the accessibility and the diverse of opportunities.
Right. Wow. That's so cool. that you had all those experiences with large animal, marine animal, wildlife, small animal, and yet you still had that hunger and thirst to like, I want to know more. I know I can know more. That's really cool. And I think what you talked about, accessibility in education, that's what Manor was good at and is still really
Yeah.
strong at, being accessible, being flexible, working with parents, moms, first time generation college students, transfer students, whoever, whatever the background might be. That's what we really want to serve and continue serving. So that's great to hear that that was a reason why.
Mhm.
And okay, so describe a little bit about your time at Manor. Were you involved with any activities?
Mm.
What were some of maybe your favorite classes, and what were some things as a part-time student stuck out to you?
Absolutely. Well, I must say I had one of my knees reconstructed while I was there. So that was a challenge because the elevators weren't quite ready at that point. But that's
Gotcha.
okay. I had a good cohort of classmates that were able to help. Honestly, while I was there, I really had my head down because I was doing so much between work and school and being a mom. I didn't get involved in too many extracurricular activities. I just didn't have the time or the bandwidth, which actually is one of my least favorite terms. I can't believe I just used that. I just didn't have the headspace to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But in my second year, I was given the opportunity because I had a lot of real life experience to be what I think they even just made it up, was a peer instructor. So in the surgery lab, I was able to, they didn't need a TA because I was in there. And I was able to guide and coach my fellow classmates in those, prep and procedural aspects of that course. So that really stood out. Small animal medicine was my favorite. The professor, she's now married and moved away and a radiologist, but at the time, she was teaching us all these intricacies and at a really higher level. It was way more cerebral than the standard courses were, which I loved because she's a vet. She's teaching us to be as supportive as we can be of that higher level medicine. And it was awesome. But all the courses really tied together well for me. And it was just, it was feeding, like you said, I was always thirsting for that knowledge and knowing stuff. And I was that student that made all the giant like posters of knowing all the parasitology bugs and, what pharmacology courses, classes and things to do. So it was really get my head down and get it done, but have some fun while I did it. And I did.
Yeah, it sounds great. Wow. That's cool. So you were a peer instructor,
Yeah.
right? And was that kind of your first time that you were in like a teaching role, or had you already been in teaching roles in the past?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kelly, because it's definitely something I've come back to. It was my first official one. Yes, I've been a swimmer my whole life, and I was a coach and, like a swim lesson instructor. But that's definitely not the same thing when you're dealing with, medical skills and much more educated humans. So in that life setting, it was very different. And it was, I think, the start of a real love and continued desire to want to do that. And I think we might talk on it a little bit later, but I ended up coming back to Manor as a adjunct professor, which was awesome. Dr. Bassert was still a program director at the time, and I reached out to her and was like, I need to do something other than pharmaceutical sales because it sucks. She's like, guess what? And I was like, yes. So to come back in that even more, full capacity was just awesome.
Yeah. And it sounds like what you do now with EVT, you're constantly teaching and being a leader and those things. And it sounded like those skills are very natural to you. And it's cool that you were given a chance as a student. You know what? This student really can take on some of that.
It was
That's
probably
really cool.
Because I was being a pain in the butt too with Dr. K. I was like, I know all this stuff already. Why are you making me learn it? So it was probably like, all right, let's just shut her up and give her something. No, no, it was really a great opportunity, and I really jumped at it, and it definitely wet the whistle to keep going.
Yeah, that's cool. So how did you? So in the vet tech program, every student has to have an externship. Did you have an externship, and how did Manor prepare you, for that experience? Talk to us about that. 'Cause that's a really big milestone in the program.
It was phenomenal. So you get to pick 2 different sites, and because I was technically one of the managers at the small practice I was at, I couldn't be away for the full 12 weeks. I couldn't. Even my boss, being my friend, was like, we can't do that. And The program was really wonderful and supportive. It was like, then count that as your externship, half of it. You just make sure you get all your tasks lists, have the, the practice owner oversee them, make sure it's the right way, it's following all the AVMA benchmarks. And then the other half, I was at UPenn at their research lab, which was amazing. And I'm still in touch with some of the gals and guys I worked with there, which was really, really eye-opening, because all of us, we get into this field to be the voice of the voiceless, right? And there's a real, PETA, don't at us, but there's a place for it. And I found that being a vet tech in laboratory medicine, in research, is so integral, and it's so important, because we really are the voice where we can say to the project leaders and the human physicians that are utilizing the animal models, no, you're done. These animals are no longer yours to play with. They're not well, and we have to end this study. So it's really being an advocate for their care and well-being. Plus, have you ever taken ibuprofen for a headache?
Yep.
That's, how else are we going to test it? Which is not, it's hard. And I understand that, really. I struggled with it too. But when you can focus on the end result and the fact that you are the animal's true advocate and you're making an impact and a difference, even me as an extern, just helping and being there, they let me do a lot, and I learned a ton. So that was really a phenomenal experience. Plus I got to ride the trolley every day, which was super fun.
That is fun. Oh, cool. Wow. So it's nice that Manor was really flexible in letting you obviously extern at the place that you currently worked at. That's great. And then obviously getting
it saved
other experience. Yeah.
Because honestly, we were still kind of at that point, and with my husband, he was a stay-at-home dad with our daughter. We were still coming out of the recession at this point, right? It's 2009 through 2010. 11, 12 in there. And he was working some part-time shifts, but I was pretty much the sole breadwinner. And we all know in the vet tech profession that we don't make a ton. So every little bit helped. And the fact that Manor was able to flex with me on that was really, really huge.
Wow, that's cool. So talk to us about, going from, you have a bachelor's, you are a young mom, you now got your associate's degree in vet tech. What did you do next, and how did that transition into what you're doing today?
Yeah, it's definitely not a straight route. I'm one of those that's like, but it all kind of segues together. So really, when I was in marine biology, I loved it. It's like, those little kid dreams. I want to swim with the whales, and I did it, which was great. But it wasn't. And there's still a lot of my friends that have continued on with it, and they're living in Hawaii and living that dream, which is amazing. So you can. For me, I wanted to do a little bit more. I wanted to do more for the animals. So that to me was vet med. So I didn't have any experience. So it was how to get into that, right? And start volunteering and be that kennel tech. That's super annoying. Like, what is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? And then we moved to Canada. It was still volunteering. I was at the aquarium, and then I was at a mixed practice where I did some island work, and then into a specialty center, and then applied to vet school. Got in, found out I was going to be a mom. Whoops. So not a whoops.
Right.
Honestly, it was the best thing that could have happened. And then we pivoted to the States, and then that kind of took on. So when I started at Manor, I was still working at a small GP, but it was really progressive. And once you've been in emergency medicine, that's just how your brain works. So the practice owner and my dear friend, we were always set and ready for an emergency, because that's just how our brains, we'd been trained. As I was going through the courses and things, it's like, I miss emergency. So when I finished, I stayed on for another year, and then we moved back out to the suburbs because it was starting to be school age and we were expecting our second. So moved out to Montgomery County and started working at a larger specialty referral center in emergency, and then had our son. He's 8 now. Oh my God. So I was at that practice for 8 years, really. I did have to take kind of a 6-month break when my other knee decided to. So it's our knees or our backs in vet med, and both of my knees they're full of metal, but they're working now, which is awesome. So I did a little segue into farm sales, and that's when Dr. Bassett was like, hey, we needed an instructor. And at the hospital I was at was, hey, we have a CSR position. I had never done that. So I was able to really sit on that side of the desk and see how hard those men and women work. And oh my God, You know, I thought I knew how difficult it was, but being the voice in the face of the hospital is a position that takes a really special human being, and they are phenomenal at it. So I really learned to respect and appreciate that aspect of vet med while teaching at the same time. And then a position was created at the same hospital as an education development coordinator. I was like, oh, pick me, please pick me. This is really what I love to do. So it's nursing and teaching, and let's create a really robust program. And we did. But for me, it was only able to go so far. It works for them, and that was enough. But my brain and dreams kept going. And so it got them to where they needed to be. And it was a very amicable like parting of, hey, I'm working on this separate thing. I need to go do this. And they said, best of luck. So I'm still close to a lot of folks there. So that was in a nutshell. Sorry, I'm talking so much.
No.
That was the journey really, from marine bio to assistant to tech to instructor, all that kind of thing. And then it culminated with empowering veterinary teams. And we called it that because no, I can't empower you, Kelly, to do something, but I can give you the tools and the knowledge so you can empower yourself. And that's exactly what we're looking to do. You know, find those existing leaders within a practice, within an industry, give them that framework and that support to grow and really not just survive in vet med, but to thrive.
Wow. What a journey, Alyssa. It's incredible. And so, I mean, you can hear the energy. I know we're all zoomed out, but you can really hear the energy just coming through the screen here. And I'm sure that you definitely do empower teams and people and other vets. So tell me, you know, why is EVT, you're clearly passionate about it. What is missing in the industry that you feel that EVT is a solution for? And why are you so passionate about this creation that you just made?
That's a fabulous question. I'm so glad you asked it. Thank you. So I think any industry, it's never done, right? We're always on this continual evolving process. We should be. And what I've noticed that has been missing, and I've been in several practices and we've created it together, but there's, you know, it needs to keep going, is the growth and support of the teams themselves, right? So I got into vet med to be a voice for the voiceless. It's not just the animals anymore. It's not our patients, it's the team, right? They're not necessarily being heard or being seen. And that's coming from me, you know, a place of privilege, right? As a white cisgender heterosexual woman. Yeah, there's some, you know, definitely pay gaps and gender equality issues there and equity, but I don't have the same experience as so many other folks that have had less. And that doesn't sit well with me. We are the whitest profession in this country. Okay, why is that? Right? So how do we fix this? How do we make this attainable? How do we make it accessible? Right? You know, to Manor's vision and point, that's exactly what we're working on with so many of us to make happen. And then what EVT does specifically is create programs to make that happen from a skill side as well as a mental well-being, right? So if your clinical skills suffer, your mental health suffers. And then it's this vicious cycle that keeps happening. And we are all keenly aware of how, you know, integral our mental health is to all of our well-being, right? And vet med is no different. We've definitely been hit hard. This pandemic's been vicious for everyone in the healthcare professions and veterinary medicine in particular. You know, the ER waits are still 5 and 6 hours, and some clients are less than kind. And it's heavy. Everything's heavy right now. And the training and the continuing education has had to go on the wayside because they have to, right? Just to get through the day. So that's where we come in. So you don't have to do it, right? Here's the program. I can lead it. My team can help you do it and facilitate it. Here's all of the materials that you need to get you from A to Z, from onboarding and orientation to growth and development. And let's do it together. And it's really my dream is that there's an EV training program in every practice in the country. That way you don't have to stress over it. It's there, it's ready for you. And you have a whole support network outside of the practice, and we can come in and be a part of it too. So that's really what we do, is we meet you where you are with what you need. And
wow,
if I'd had that, you know, my whole career, like, wow, you know, so to be able to provide that and to get away from the whole competitive mindset into more of a collaborative one. Yeah, absolutely. So however we can support our teams, we're actually going to be doing another free conference in September. It's a virtual one because we live in that world now. And it's going to be at the lunch hour for a week in September. And that way, hey, here's 3.5 continuing education credits. Here's some really awesome information, positive psychology from Flourish Veterinary Consulting, mentoring from Plausibilities. Hey, ultrasound for vet techs? Yeah, I have my friend Camilla does that. She's based in the UK. So it's to give yes, we're focused on the support teams because that's what builds the whole team. But that means CSRs, assistants, techs, facilities, right? We love you, veterinarians. We do. We love you. But let's support the people that support you. And that's what we're aiming to do big time.
Wow. Wow. I love it. It's so inclusive. It's resourceful. It's supportive. I hope that your dream comes true. I hope that you do have an EV program in every clinic across the country. That would be incredible. And I'm sure you are on your way. So think about where you are today and kind of where you've grown. And can you tie anything back to Manor and anything foundationally that helped you kind of get there?
Absolutely. I mean, it really, being able to juggle literally 15 things at once while I was there set me up for this, right? So if I can manage pharmacology, anesthesia, hematology and all the ologies that I'm studying while making sure that all of my patients at work are taken care of and the inventory is set and dinner is at home. Well, actually, I don't cook. I can't say that, but that my daughter was getting, what she needed. Right. Yeah, I can do that. And also, being exposed to so many different types of teaching styles and how different people learn. I think that started that like intrigue in me. It's like, okay, I didn't really respond well to that. Why was that? Someone teaches in this manner, but I learned this way. And I've done a lot more research in that. And that's what I've developed with EVT. But the fact that they're open to that, the inclusivity, and all of that started there. I went to a really huge university, URI, and it was like that too. So I wanted to keep that feeling. And I think being in a small college setting for something that was obviously invested in me made me invest back. And I think that continual paying forward is something that is a big part of the culture at Manor. And I'm really proud to have been a part of it, both as a student and as a faculty member.
Yes, that's wonderful. And we're so glad that you've been a part of it. I mean, you keep coming back to kind of the same themes of flexibility and being able to just have such a wide variety of options and learning styles, whether it's curriculums, or teachers. And I think that's really cool. And I didn't really think about that for vet techs. I always thought vet techs are support staff for vets, and I didn't think about all the different things that vet techs do.
Oh, wow,
but that there's such a huge scale of it. And I think it's really good to hear that. So what Alyssa, would you say, to students who are right now in the program and they are in the trenches and, things are hard right now. What would you say as some advice or as some inspiration for them?
Absolutely. You are not alone. I know that it's kind of been played, we're in this together has definitely been a mantra of everyone, but I want you to hear that you aren't. And there are so many things that you are capable of. Remember, there's only 4 things that we can't do in vet practice, right? So we can't do surgery, we can't prescribe, we can't diagnose, and we can't give a prognosis. Everything else is open. So what I would encourage every one of you to do is don't ever stop learning, because life's never going to stop teaching, right? I've definitely been learning a ton. I couldn't have told you what SEO was or how to work in all these different logistical know-hows from a business perspective, but I took some courses and I figured it out. So find what drives you, find what inspires you, because that is definitely something that is more of an internal factor. And then work with people that motivate you to be the best version of yourself. We're out there. And remember that you're not just anything. You're not just a vet tech. You're not just an assistant. You're not just anything. You got to own the awesome that you are.
Wow. Well, thank you, Alyssa. It's been anything that you want to share with us as we kind of wrap up here. I know I want to be wary of our time and we're kind of getting to it. But anything you want to share, or how should people connect and follow you if they want to see what you're doing?
Well, I know we're live here on Facebook, so we're here. It's empvetteam.1 on Facebook, but just if you search Empowering Veterinary Teams, you'll find us. We're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, and definitely check out. It's the I4 intervention, so it's it's extra stuff instead of tech week. So that's our biggest thing. But if you need to email us, it's hello@empvet.team. And you'll get a human person, not just a robot response. So we're out there, which is again what I mean. You're not alone, because anyone that's watching now, you're part of the EV team. Welcome aboard.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Alyssa. It's been great talking to you, and what an inspiration. And I think it's so cool that you in only under 10 years, you have gone from Manor graduate to business owner, and you're crushing it, for lack of a better word.
Every day. So it's possible.
Really, really inspiring. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, and look forward to continuing seeing what's going on with your journey.
Oh, thanks, Kelly. It was great to hang out with you, and I appreciate your time too.
Yes, no problem. All right. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.